Okay, next up is Mario Herrero. Mario leads the Climate Change and Sustainable Livestock Futures Program at the International Livestock Research Institute based in Nairobi, Kenya, former sister center of the CG system. And Mario is going to talk to us about sustainable intensification of livestock and other ways to meet the challenges implied in the title of our session.
Thanks, Francis. First of all, I would like to thank IIASA for inviting me to this prestigious event, and I'd like to let you know that the work I'm going to present here also involves several IIASA colleagues, notably Peter Hablik, Michael Obersteiner, and Ecosystem Services team. Well, I got asked to talk about livestock, sometimes vilified, sometimes people love it. It depends really where you're coming from and where you are. Oh, let me see. This is working. Next slide, please. Okay, I think that we would all agree on the challenge ahead, and we've seen several presentations on this. The need to feed 9 to 10 billion people at a lower environmental cost and in a socially acceptable way. And in other types of presentations, we've also heard that it is really, really important to land this down to specific and very local solutions. And when we were designing this symposium, well, I was asked, well, what could be potential solutions for the livestock sector? First of all, there is a livestock revolution going on. This term was coined in the 1990s. And it's just the observation that the sector is growing extremely fast as a result of increases in population density on one hand, but also urbanization, and more importantly, growing incomes. As people get richer, they really want to consume more livestock products. And this is actually almost doubling the demand for livestock products globally. I'm going to give you some numbers so that you can see the magnitude of the challenge here and what a doubling of the demand would cause. Just look at these big numbers. 17 billion domestic animals globally. This includes every chicken and every pig, cow that you can imagine. 30% of the land's ice-free surface. A third of global cropland used for feed production. 18% of global greenhouse gas emissions globally, and 32% of global fresh water consumption. I mean, this is quite a serious set of numbers when you consider that this is the part of the agricultural sector that is really growing fast. On the other hand, you have several economic benefits because people keep livestock for a number of good reasons, and one of the key reasons is that, well, these are expensive products. They have very high values of production. They generate an enormous amount of employment, over 1 billion people. Key for sustaining incomes of producers, notably through milk and other products. And in pastoral societies and in dryland areas, people also use livestock as a risk management strategy. On top of that, if you look at the numbers, around 600 million people in the world, notably the poor, depend on livestock. And they also contribute significantly to the nutrition of humans. 17% of the global kilocalorie consumption, 33% of protein consumption, and more importantly, through the provision of milk, they are a very, very important source of micronutrients for small kids, and this is really important in poor countries. The solutions I'm going to talk to you about are really three things. How can we sustainably intensify the livestock sector in the developing world where productivity has not grown at very high rates, and where most of the growth in production has been obtained through increases in animal numbers? And this is one of the main reasons why we get these added resource pressures. Then I'm going to talk to you about carbon sequestration in rangelands. Just imagine, rangelands such a big resource. Potentially, if you could develop schemes to sequester carbon, well, this could be an important sink. And then a subject that has received a lot of attention even in the media, which is how do you manage the demand for livestock products? How can we actually talk about transitions in human diets and so on? Just look at this graph. This is part of the collaboration between ILRI and IIASA on developing much better global data sets for global integrated assessment. This is the global greenhouse gas efficiency per kilogram of animal protein produced. And, well, you can look where the inefficiencies are, but we should be really treating this as an opportunity, because this is actually where we, through sustainable intensification in the developing world, could create huge improvements in the efficiency of the livestock sector. How does this work? Well, let's go to mitigation 101. Basically, the better we feed cows, the less methane per kilo of milk they produce. That is a well-known fact. That's Volin in the 1960s, who developed the stoichiometries. Well, he pointed this out. And it's very clear that as the diet quality increases, the intensities of methane production decrease. And here you can see an example for the developing world, and the BRICS. So it's really trying to move the systems towards slightly better diets so that you can actually improve production. This is an example of an assessment that we've been trying to do with the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. These are several feeds that they've been trying to promote in different parts of Kenya. So we analyzed what impacts on milk production this could have, and also what would happen to methane production. So if you look at the average of the 6 districts, their interventions are reaching increases in milk production of 36% or so, reductions of 20% in the methane per kilogram of milk, but the methane production is remaining the same. Why? Because as animals, as you feed better the animals, well, their intake also increases. So methane remains the same. But the key here is to try to reduce animal numbers at the same time that we actually improve the diet. So basically to have less but better fed cows would be the option here. And this is an example that my colleague Philip Thornton and I developed for for Sub-Saharan Africa and South Asia. If we just could increase the digestibility of crop residues through genetic programs, you could actually more than double the numbers of significantly reduce the numbers of animals that you would need to meet the associated demand for milk in these regions. Now, we took these examples and then used one of the IIASA tools, the Globiome model, to really look at what would happen if we could actually intensify the diets of animals, going for land-based systems that had improved diets, and to see, well, what would happen to greenhouse gas emissions and other dimensions. In this case, what we found was that, yes, we do reduce the methane emissions directly from the cows, but a key indirect effect that we get here is that we get very important reductions through reductions in deforestation. There is a real land-sparing effect. And from a food security perspective, this is also beneficial because we can attain the same level of demand at lower prices for livestock products, as you can see here with milk and others. Now, that's about sustainable intensification. Of course, it will not happen just by default. The key here that we are going to get is we need markets, we need incentives, we need investment in infrastructure and others. Then to continue, how about carbon sequestration in rangelands? Look, everybody is going mad for looking for good examples of how carbon sequestration in rangelands could work. There's some projects in Mongolia, there's some projects in the US and so on. But we really need to try to come up with the key schemes of payments, trying to find ways in which we could actually monitor and measure carbon stocks in an effective way. Then there's other problems of who are you going to pay? And this is especially important when you have communal resources like in many parts of Africa and so on. There is a lot still to test in this area, and this is a totally open area of research still. And then one of the big debates, and a debate that resonates very much in the developed world, to eat or not to eat meat. What are we going to do about this one? Because it's really about food poor choices in the developed world, people getting obese and so on, and versus the food choices of the poor, people that are really trying to increase their consumption of animal products to have a better diet. And honestly, we need much, much better integrated assessments of this problem, because at the moment, they really don't cut it. We have all the integrated assessments telling us that, yes, it would be very nice and very good for the environment if we reduced meat consumption, but no assessment has shown any of the social and nutritional impacts. For example, all the assessments come and tell us, well, there's going to be heaps of land sparing. Well, what are the people in those lands going to do as an alternative? These are things that we really need to consider seriously, and these are things that the next generation of global assessment tools really need to have in to really look at social impacts, look at livelihood systems, which is ultimately what matters if you really want to manage ecosystems properly. Thank you.